Hello, everyone. My name is Kim Knowledge. Welcome to my show. Today, we're going to be tearing down the curtain of health. I'm a Caribbean woman, and the obesity rates in America is only skyrocketing. I go to the gym 4 to 5 times a week, so I want to highlight the benefits of working out, eating healthy, being on nutritional values, and just laying down what it's supposed to lay down. So today we're going to talk about some statistics here. So ladies, we're winning the race, but unfortunately in the end we end up suffering longer. 15% of our life ends up in poor health. So even though we are living longer than men, we are suffering. If you're a woman specifically in the Caribbeans, 43 versus 29%, your obesity rate is nearly doubled. And here's the kicker. On average, women are diagnosed with major diseases 2.5 to 4.5 years later than men, which means men are actually, it's a different topic because men are not checking their health, but when they do, women are not finding out an average 2.5 to 4 years later. 80% of all autoimmune patients are also women. So I say this to say that we are missing a major gap in this health society. We need to talk about mental health. We need to talk about the things that our parents didn't teach us. We're eating and we're doing the same thing that our parents are doing, but sometimes those meals and those habits, they're only creating generational curses. They're not continuing generational wealth. One of the silent killers, men are actually equate to 75 to 80% of suicides, which means that men are also not taking care of themselves as well. So I believe that women like me that come on these shows, we're teaching health and wealth, we're doing what it is that we're supposed to do. I'm 32 years old, continuing a legacy that we're here for our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. My mother and my father's been together for 33 years. My mother is a Puerto Rican woman. My father's a Dominican man. They came together very young, still together. They raised a healthy daughter, and I want to continue that legacy in nutritional and health and get away from the pharmaceuticals and get back to the gym. Another thing that I want to talk about is a silent killer that's in men is heart disease. Men's heart disease risk spikes at age 35. I'm 32 myself. My spouse is 40 years old. We are living in an age that we think we're young and healthy just because we have our age, but at the end of the day, if 35 is not even half of what it is that you want to live up to, which is 70 years old, that's nothing. My father's 70 right now. So we want to make sure that we're teaching our men, go to the doctor, get those prostate exams, get those screenings, do what it is that you have to do in order for you to stay healthy longer. Now, another thing that men are living with is hypertension. 47% of men are living with hypertension, and they have no idea. It is the ultimate silent killer. 1 in 2 men are walking strokes, literally, which is damn near almost 50% of men. Caribbean men have some of the highest rates of prostate cancer mortality in this world, up to 3 times higher than a U.S. American men and European men as well. Genetic factors play a role, but the mask of avoiding digital exams is what is turning it into an untreatable condition. In the Caribbean, men are disproportionately affected by amputations as well. Due to poorly managed blood sugar, it is significantly higher than the islands and in North America as well. Now, what I want to get into is getting away from the Tylenols, the Advils, all these things, and getting back to what my father taught me when I was young. fasting, taking a hot shower, drinking that hot tea in the morning. We have to go back to the basics. What doctors, we're not going to discredit the professional aspects of what it is that they provide for us, but we have to get back to holistic health. Going out into nature, smelling the oxygen that the trees naturally give us. We end up staying in our homes, especially after the pandemic. After the pandemic, we are lacking connection. We're no longer going outside anymore and being with people, and talking with people, hiking, camping. When I was growing up, we went to Dominican Republic, we went to the islands, we got the energy and nature that we needed. Nowadays, these kids, they're on their tablets all day, slouched over. They don't even have the body posture of someone who goes outside and plays. We're raising couch potatoes. So we have to be aware as parents, as teachers, whatever role you play as an adult, that you are the first mentor that these kids have. And if you're not active and you're not going outside and you're not doing anything with your life, your child is not going to neither. And if we want to break these generational curses and we want to continue living healthy lives so that way we can play catch and play basketball with our kids, we have to teach them correctly. And it starts with us, right? So while eating disorders affects everyone, 90% are actually struggling with anorexia or bulimia, which means that the body dysmorphia, even though people are not necessarily skinny or fat or what they believe they are, they look at themselves and they see that. So also fixing your body image and how you look at yourself, which is forming a form of meditation as well. You want to make sure that you are taking those 10 to 15 minutes a day to give yourself grace. Make sure that you're breathing, looking at yourself and calling yourself beautiful, because we are our hardest critics. We are the hardest on ourselves. And then we go out into the world and we think that people think of us that way, when in reality, it's not true. So sometimes fasting, meditating, taking a detox from the rest of the world is necessary so that way you can get back to that goddess and godly mindset as well. So in the Caribbean, there's only one psychiatrist per 100,000 people. So in our community, we do not believe in therapy, guys. I don't know why we were raised on not being able to speak to other people and go to a person about our problems. But my best suggestion to you is, if you are dealing with trauma, your body is holding it, and you're not going to be able to lose the weight, have the mindset that you want, if you don't let go and let God as well. Now, people in the Caribbean consume more than twice than the recommended amount of salt. Reducing this by half can prevent hypertension in roughly 30 million people in the Caribbean alone, let alone the Americas. Rare studies show that Jamaican-born women in the U.S. have longer survival rates. And for certain aggressive breast cancers, U.S.-born Black women, suggesting a unique interplay of genetics and early life environment, which means that depending on how you are raised from when you are young, you can actually fight these things when you get older. So if basically you give yourself a fighting chance. So we have to basically change the habits from the groundwork. Sometimes it's not all about, oh, I have to eat healthy today, right? You have to change the mindset of eating healthy today first. Then you can change the discipline. Some people, they get the surgeries, they do everything that they're supposed to do, and then they go right back into 400 pounds of obesity because they didn't change the discipline and the habits first. Give yourself grace. Now, I recently found out that changing from going to a hospital when giving birth to having a midwife changes 60% of maternal deaths. That is a massive amount. I think it's because of the peace that you have when you're home and you're giving birth. So I'm not saying that we can go back to when they birthed us, but if you haven't had babies yet and you're looking to have children, you don't necessarily have to go to a hospital. You can hire a midwife, you can hire a doula, set up your hot inflatable bath, because it starts from the womb. When you first are giving birth to these children, what we're introducing to our children, we are giving them the same vibrations sometimes that we came in with. So if we're scared, nervous, have anxiety, as soon as we have our baby, that's what it is that we're doing. So teaching our children and our daughters so that way they don't grow up with high nervous systems and scared all the time is a big difference as well in holding a lot of that fat, stored trauma, tension, anxiety, all of these things that we're dealing with that causes mental health issues. Now, again, my name is Kim. They call me Knowledge. I grew up in a two-parent household in a Caribbean home. Like every Caribbean family, I got sent to Dominican Republic when I was a teenager, and it completely changed my life. In 2018, I had a near-death experience. I was bleeding through every which way that you can imagine. I was dying in a bathtub, and my mom didn't know what to do. This was in 2018. When I got back to the States, they wanted to perform a hysterectomy. Now, at the time, I was 23 years old. You can imagine how scary being told that I had to have a hysterectomy at 23 years old. I never had children before. I didn't have any kids. So for me, this was life-altering. I told myself, I can't imagine myself not having children and also taking out the organs that allow me to have those children. And being 23 years old, if I didn't research and read and get that second opinion, as most of us sometimes don't, I would not have all of my organs right now. So fibroids, ovarian cysts, hemorrhagic cysts, these are things that are extremely prominent in women. And sometimes just going to the doctor doesn't help. So you have to do the research of these health benefits that are outside of the pharmaceuticals in order to actually get yourself better. I speak to a lot of older women at the gym because I have a six-pack. I work out every day. They ask me, why do you come to the gym? You don't need to come to the gym every day. And I let them know I have to come to the gym because then I wouldn't have the body that I have. So it's a misconception that genetics, age, beauty is going to keep you where you are. You have to earn that. You have to work towards that. If you want to be healthy, you have to be disciplined to be healthy. You want to have a nice slim body, you have to be disciplined to have a nice slim body. These things are not just going to show up just because we want it. Now, unfortunately for me, I got really sick. Don't wait until you get really sick to get better. Just be better and stay better. Now, maintenance is the next topic. When you're maintaining this health, it is extremely important to stay away from temptations that keep you tempted in whether it's going out to party, whether it's eating that extra junk, whatever it may be, sometimes you have to remove yourself from those temptations. We heard the statistics in the beginning of the episode. It's dire. We're not talking about 10%, 5%. We're talking 75% of men are committing suicide. We're talking 15% of our life as a woman is in pain, and then the men die early, and then we don't have those men to take care of while we're in pain because we didn't take care of ourselves as a woman when we were 20 to 60 years old. So it's very important to have this foundation. And I'm young. I'm 32 years old. It's a blessing to have this type of knowledge at this age. This is why I'm on this show, to allow the women that are my age, younger, older, so we can learn together, because I'm still learning. As I get my life coaching certificate, as I'm gaining my physical therapist road, and all of these things that need to be achieved so that way I could further teach you guys. We're on this road together. And I think it's important for younger women to be teaching the older women, because the older women were not teaching us as much as they should have. So now it's time for them to take a seat on the side, let the new generation come in and teach you guys how to take care of yourself. The breast cancer is high right now. Cervical cancer, the high blood pressure, the diabetes, all these things that I don't suffer from, thank God, and that we don't want our children to continue suffering from. I truly believe that together, women, men, as we get this knowledge out there, specifically Caribbean women and men, and we stop resorting to things that just, oh, well, this is what my mother did, this is what my grandmother did, and we actually start putting the information that we need in order to thrive, we're unstoppable. We're going to be unstoppable. We're going to have our grandmothers here till 120 years old. We're going to have our mothers here till 120 years old. And that's going to be the blessing that our children are going to have, because they're going to have their elders in their life for longer. Now, I believe that we need to create some type of support system together that recently they just had a free supermarket where they allowed people to come in and get a bag of groceries for free. That's the type of stuff that we need to be doing as a smaller community. We have things in our fridge, in our cabinets, whatever the case may be, that we don't even touch, and we don't give it away neither, because we're not a community. There are things that we cook, we leave over. At the end of the day, there is no support groups for healthy women that are either married, unmarried. I'm 32 years old, and I don't see rarely anything in my community. So women like me, they want to create the support groups. We want to work out together. We want to create the gym so we can go work out, have the juice bars, everything in one. So that way we can also hire within our community as well. The black nurses, the black nutritionists, everything that we don't need to always outsource for everything. We can look within our community, support within our community, so that way we can be healthier, smarter, better, and everything. So let's see. So I think I think incorporating younger women like myself on the internet like this, we played behind the scenes for a long time. We told ourselves that we were selling our soul if we come on social media. We barely posted. But then I realized that there is no elders for us to look up to anymore. There's really no one else to listen to. So if we don't continue the generation, it's our fault. Our language, my parents speak Spanish. If I decide to not continue speaking Spanish to my children, then whose fault is that? It becomes my fault if we don't continue these generational legacies, So it is our job to continue teaching because it's our time now. Our parents, their generation, they did their job and they didn't have social media, which is why my parents are still together for 33 years. Now, one thing that I want to rebrand in myself is going from eating out every day to really cooking, juicing, holistic health, how much that really changed my life. When I was in Dominican Republic, I got really, really sick. I thought I was going to lose my life. We couldn't even afford to go to the hospital because I didn't have insurance out there. And then I don't know what it was, but I know that we couldn't afford to go to the hospital. So I remember going in the bathtub and just seeing black. Now, to this day, we don't know exactly what it was, but the doctor told me that I had hemorrhagic cysts, an ovarian cyst, and that one of them had burst. Now, that meant nothing to me at the time because I was not researched in it. But you know how many women, when I research, go through fibroids, go through hemorrhagic cysts, go through ovarian cysts, and we just live through that pain? And no one knows why they're bleeding for 3 weeks out of the month, yet we're lacking iron, we're anemic, we're lacking nutrition, we're low on all of our vitamins, yet we're supposed to still come in as the best wife, the best mother, the best friend, the best everything, but we don't even know what's going on with our bodies as women. You have women that get pregnant, 6 months pregnant, and they don't even know they're pregnant. How are you going to be that ignorant to your body as a woman? So I want to come on here and I want to teach women and show men and bring it together. I want to bridge the older men, the younger men, the older women, the younger women, and bridge that gap together so that way we can have a common ground because health is universal. There is no age limit or cap on health. So no matter if you're 100 years old or you're 5 years old, you can use this type of information in order to succeed in your life. So I just know that there's a gap. There's a gap in everyone wants to just post looking good in the gym. But in the Bible, we had to be functional for God. We had to be strong enough to fulfill God's purpose. We're not strong enough to take a picture to show our muscles. No, it's so we could pick up our grandchild, so we could walk the old lady across the street, so we can help somebody with their bags. That's what you want to be strong enough for, to fulfill God's purpose. Functional strength should be your key, not for beauty, for vanity. That's not what working out is for. Working out is for fulfilling God's purpose. And I think when I go to the gym 4 to 5 times a week, it reminds me of when I was laying in that bathtub and I was almost dying and I couldn't even afford to go to the hospital to make myself better. And I didn't know a herb, a juice, nothing that was going to make me better. So then you start learning about dandelion root. You start learning about ashwagandha. You start learning about marshmallow root. You start learning about black seed oil. You start learning to eat things with the peel on it. You start learning, eat all your fruits with the seeds in it. Don't buy watermelon with no seeds. Don't buy grapes with no seeds. But the Caribbeans know this naturally. It's in our blood. We know that when we looking at this fruit, something's wrong with it. But we have been so a lot of us has been so Americanized that we just say, F it. Whatever. I'm going to eat the watermelon. It's still watermelon. No, it's not. Because if you go to Dominican Republic, you go to Jamaica, you go to these places, the fruit is not like that. Those fruit has seeds in it because they're natural fruit. So, like I said before, unfortunately, it took me to get really sick to get healthy. Don't wait until you're really sick to get healthy because you might not even be able to afford the cost that it takes to be healthy. That's the real problem in America, that the healthcare system doesn't even allow you to check yourself the way that you want to. So then you end up sicker than what you normally are because you can't even afford to go check yourself. But if you knew the herbs and the roots and the teas and the natural, holistic things that it takes in order to heal yourself, maybe you wouldn't feel so much pressure to say, oh, well, I can't visit the doctor, so I'm not going to check myself. There's no excuse. So as the episodes continue, I will be coming on here giving you guys roots, herbs, combinations, routines in your gym life, everything that it needs to be in order to continue to live a healthy life. Now, being a personal trainer and having a life coaching certificate is something that I want to continue striving for, but I know that it means nothing to me to have that certificate. This is a lifestyle that I'm living every day because I want to be here for my grandchildren. My father is 70 years old. My mother is 54 years old. They've been together for 33 years. My father juices every morning, drinks carrot, ginger. He does not eat takeout food. Now, my mom, on the other hand, she can indulge in some takeout food. They have two completely different body types. But you know what? He still helps her. If he has to make a juice for her, if he has to do something that's whatever it may be, he helps her. He doesn't judge her. He helps her. So if you have a partner in your life that sometimes it can keep you tempted, that's not an excuse neither. Sometimes you could just make the juice and leave the juice in the fridge. If they don't drink it, you drink it. You still have that decision to make the choice yourself, though. Sometimes my partner is not the best. I go to the gym 4 to 5 times a week. And now he tells me, it's you the reason why I try to make it to the gym. So you never know who you are motivating as well when you are sticking to your plan. And I think it's important for us to all have discipline, principle, a vision, a goal, whether you a woman, a man, you 40, 50, 60s. You know, statistically, over 40-year-olds are the millionaires. This Gen Z, now we have social media millionaires. But in reality, it takes over 4 to 5 decades to get to that type of earnings. So don't think about money so much. Money come and go. We should be happy with the sun, the wind, the water, the natural things that God provided us, because that's what's going to keep you pushing every day. That's your only guarantee in life. That you're going to see, when it rains, you're going to see the sun. You're going to see that water splashing by in the ocean. But money is not guaranteed. So I personally, I don't live for money. I live to go see the ocean. I live to go to make sure I see that sunrise in the morning. I want to be healthy enough to roll out of bed to see the sun. I want to be healthy enough that when I push my baby out, I could go back and I could pick up my baby after because I'm strong enough. We're talking functional training here. I'm not telling you to go to the gym to be a model. And I'm not telling you to have a nutritional diet to be a supermodel neither. But being aware of how much you're intaking, even when you go to the buffet. If you're taking every little thing from the buffet, I could tell you your discipline right there. I'm sorry. I just could tell you your discipline. Because you should know what you want already, put what you want on the plate and eat it. That's it. If you want to try a couple new things, that's okay. But your discipline will bleed everywhere in your personality. So if you're greedy here, you're going to be greedy there. So working on your lust, working on gluttony, working on your wrath, working on all the 7 deadly sins, yes, to be closer to God and be healthy, that's what it's about. Now, men and women experience life extremely differently, right? Men believe they have it harder. Women believe they have it harder. I want to show you guys as the show continues and we continue on to the weeks, I will have people that will be sitting and we will be talking and interviewing. And I'm going to have music artists. I'm going to have personal trainers. I'm going to have different sets of people, teachers, professors, that will let you know. And because we're bridging the minds, right? We're bridging the minds. The mind of a 7-year-old, which is like my dad. The mind of a 30-year-old like myself. We have 40-year-old trainers. My fiance is a 40-year-old. We're bridging the gap between what it means to be different. Because we're all the same. We just have so many, we have a lot of similarities. We have a lot of similarities between the different ages. And I want to make sure that we have a channel that can show that, you know? When I go to the gym, those ladies love me. When I tell you the senior citizens, they love me because I have an energy, I have the personality of someone that is going to be young forever. And for them, they know how special that is. They know that the money doesn't matter in the end. They know that in the end of it, it only matters how you make people feel and what you're doing for yourself to fulfill that purpose. You have to live for something. You can't be a robot. You can't be a sheep. You can't let American society turn you into, I'm going to wake up and go to work and do this and then go to sleep. That's not what God intended for you, you know? And if we didn't crave money so much, you really wouldn't have to work as hard as you work. You work as hard as you work because you want more luxurious things. You want the better house. You want the better car. You want more things. So in order to maintain your desires, we work harder. But in reality, and I'm speaking from experience, I live a very low maintenance life. And I'm fortunate enough to not work. I get to have fun every day. I wake up, I work out. If I want to go outside and garden, if I want to go outside and pick a flower, because I don't demand much in my life. I don't need the fanciest car. I don't need the fanciest house. I don't need the fanciest clothes. But because I've manifested that type of abundance in my life, God also provides that type of abundance in my life. Because I don't think of what I don't have. I think of everything that I do have, and God provides more of that. So I have the women at the gym, they tell me that I'm crazy for allowing a man to not let me work, have fun on a show, talk the things that I want to talk about. If I want to drink some wine, drink some wine. Because what if either one, he breaks up with me, two, I decide to leave. But I don't think about those type of things because sometimes you don't see the every step of the way. God just shows you the next step and you have to step on that rock, right? And that's what I'm doing right now at 32 years old. I'm just stepping on the next rock. And I'm happy, I'm fulfilled, I'm satisfied. I don't work a 9 to 5. I'm not stressed out by a 9 to 5. I have no boss other than my fiance. That's it. He's the only person that can tell me what to do. And for me, that's how I am happy. We have a feminist society now that thrives on the independence of women. But, we just had a snowstorm. And do you know how many 60, 70-year-old women were shoveling? I saw it with my own eyes. Not because they were bad women, but because they decided that a man in their life is not necessary. Then they came to the gym and complained about said shoveling. Now, not only that, on the internet, you can see people complaining about shoveling as women or complaining about anything that is what a man was supposed to do. You know what happened when I woke up that morning? My man shoveled the entire 20-foot driveway that we have. I didn't have to do anything. Everything was clean when I came out. Now, I'm not bragging. I'm more so letting you guys know the mindset that I'm having. Healthy mindset. Men are usable. They are meant to be used. Men are not disposable. You cannot just use a man and just get another one. Women are learning that when they're older now, they're not as healthy, they don't have a man, and they're suffering. I'm witnessing it firsthand. Women that are older, that told themselves men ain't, and now they're suffering because of it, because they're in their old age, they're turning brittle, and they're fragile. They literally are not capable of doing the task that a man can still do at that age. So having muscle definition and all these things is not only, like I said, for beauty. It's because if you are deciding to also be a feminist in this society, then yes, you do have to be just as strong as a man, because there are going to be times that you are doing things by yourself and you're not going to want to. So it's not complain about the men because you decided that route. So me as a woman, I invite the men into my life. I invite their help. I want your help. I need your help. I am a woman that understands a man's role and understands that this is what you do and this is what I do. When I was growing up, gender roles were healthy. We live in a society that, we have trans women, men, we have the LGBT community, we have all of these things that are very controversial to talk about. I do understand that. But it has blurred the lines of gender roles and healthy men and women coming together to create a healthy lifestyle. And that's important for our children, because our children are growing up confused. They're growing up not understanding what their role is. Understanding your role is understanding your purpose. And understanding your purpose is fulfilling God's role. So there's this loophole, that you can find when you're lost. And that's grounding yourself into, what's my purpose? What am I here for? There were so many times that I lost myself and I told myself, why am I even here? What am I here for? But then I walk into a room and I'm immediately reminded, because the light that I give, the way that people's face light up, the community that I invite, if everyone's separate, everyone is together now, And that's what I'm here for. I'm here to fulfill a role that is missing. I'm the missing puzzle piece. And when I realized that, that empowered me to have more willpower, because sometimes you're not motivated. We had this era of motivation where the everything was motivation. But sometimes you are just not motivated. You're not motivated to eat that healthy meal. You're not motivated to wake up early. You're not motivated to go to the gym. You're just not motivated. But willpower is something that God gave us inside of us. Willpower is something that comes from purpose. You lose your willpower when you lose your purpose. And sometimes you're not going to be motivated to go to the gym. You're just not. But the willpower and the discipline to go to the gym is going to be completely different. I don't have no motivation sometimes to stay slim and be the way that I am, but I have God's willpower inside of me that He gave me to be that good person and do the right thing. We all get tempted. We're tempted to eat that unhealthy dessert. We're tempted to eat, to go to drink. We're tempted to have premarital sex. We're tempted for so many things. But what is the purpose in the end? What is the end goal? Always remind yourself, where am I going in the end? And stay focused. So for me, this first episode is more so getting myself out there and doing what it is that I said I was going to do, because I manifested everything that I wanted. And I want you guys to manifest that life too. We lose sight on love. We lose sight on our ability to make money. We lose sight on so many things. And I think when you take a second to realize that people don't belong to me, this job don't belong to me, I'm not attached. Even when you're obese, like we were talking about, I'm not attached to this. This is not me. I am not my job. I am not my unhealthy habits. I am not the bad things that I do in my life. That is not who I am at the core. That's not who my soul is. And when you remind yourself what your soul wants and the intentions, okay, you stop being mad at yourself so much as well. I remember there was a time where I was like, why am I so angry? I was just so angry all the time. And I never really exuded angry energy. As a Pisces, I am extremely sad most of the time, so I'll find a reason to cry. But in this time in my life, I was angry. And as I started to reflect on the emotional levels of what anger meant, it was gaining my worth back and being angry at the fact that I'm not where I want to be. I'm not where I'm supposed to be. And that makes me angry. And it's the first step of gaining your power back. And when you realize that God gave us all of these emotions in order to continue finding our purpose so we don't lose sight in Him and continue on to that faith, it's just eureka. Like, eureka, okay, that's why I'm angry. And I think it helps me dial back and tell myself, okay, I don't need to be angry for my self-worth. I can just have passion in that. Use that as passion, use that in the drive that I have. And now I work out. I have an addictive personality in the healthy things that I do. So now you'll catch me at the gym 4 or 5 times a week. I'm taking my supplements every day. I'm going to bed on time. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. When I go out, if I drink, I have a drink. I won't have the bottle, whatever the case may be, but it's in moderation. The things are not being super indulged and overly expressed in a way where it is devilish and it is demonic, and it does become in that way because these things, alcohol and spirit, they are vibrational things that they lower your vibration. These are hinderers. They're not things that help you. You know, a glass of wine for me doesn't hurt. But if you know that you are an alcoholic and a glass of wine is a gateway for you, then you cannot have the glass of wine. So you have to know yourself. Discipline and principle bleeds into every part of your personality. If you're able to discipline yourself in small parts of your life, then you're able to discipline yourself in bigger aspects of your life. I believe that Jordan Peterson Clean Your Room is one of the best simple tricks that has helped me in the past 10 years. Jordan Peterson is a psychologist, and he is one of the best motivational speakers, whether he knows it or not. And I believe it has to be over 7 years ago now, came out with a video. He came out with a video, and it was, if you can't clean up your room, then just pick up the smallest thing. And that has helped me throughout my entire freaking 20s. I literally used to get, because you have fight or flight mode, and then it's freeze mode, which when your amygdala is hijacked, you are in this state for a very long time. These are periods of extreme stress, and you just get stuck. You get frozen, whether you're scrolling on your phone, whatever it may be. A lot of people are in fight or flight mode, but they don't know that they're in freeze mode. So I was in freeze mode. I would just, if I have a depressed looking room, it's staying like that, because I used to take the whole task into my hand. As I started breaking these tasks down and just picking up the smallest thing and then going to the biggest thing, next thing I knew, my room was clean. And that does help with your depression. That does help with your emotional scale going up, because you start to realize that all of these big things in your life can be tackled if you just handle one small thing at a time. And as I start to, and this is something that I still do to this day, I always start small, and next thing I know, my place is clean. It's just something that I have inhibited into my lesson and my discipline. But for someone that doesn't know where to start, it's a great place to start. Now, Andrew Huberman as well, they had an interview at some point, Jordan Peterson and Andrew Huberman, about neuroplasticity and the abilities of what the neurological disorders are coming from. And I found it so interesting that a psychologist versus a doctor, that the doctor did not understand a lot of the things that Jordan Peterson was saying. Now, could he communicate? Could he go back and forth? Yes, of course. But Jordan Peterson really broke down the psychological aspects of what the brain does versus the scientific aspects of what the brain does. And together, it's magic. We're talking about dopamine, the serotonin, oxytocin, all these things that are mood swingers that we don't even regulate in our day. Most of us are dealing with hormonal imbalance because of the water, because of the things that we eat, the soaps that we use. So as the episodes continue, I want to make sure that we have professionals, people that are into these type of things, so that way we can further learn together and grow together in what is actually wrong with us. Because everything that is right with us, we don't highlight. But when we wake up with our bones hurting, we got headaches, we got all these things, we are just living life like it's normal. Meanwhile, we're getting out of bed in pain every day. You have headaches every day. You know, your feet are swollen. Your knees is bloated. People that have inflammation, the fupa, the stomach fat, most of it is inflammation, not even fat. So these are things that we're going to be talking about in segments that I kind of just exploded to you guys in this first episode. But I want to make sure that you have an array to come back and talk to me about this stuff. So, So let's see what we talk about next. So integrating science into spirituality is some of the things that we're going to be talking about. We're going to be unpacking astrology here. We're going to be talking about quantum mechanics, holistic health and juicing, of course. We're going to be breaking down biblical metaphors, because I think a lot of people take a lot of scripture really direct, and most of it is allegories and it's not literal. It's meant to be taken as a life guide and metaphors towards your life. We're even going to be talking about the 12 disciples and their astrological connections. We're going to continue diving into Jordan Peterson's influence, embracing natural beauty and identity. So I'm really excited to continue talking with you guys and having a health plan in place. As I continue getting the emails that I get, I will have specific things that were popular. You can email me the topics that you want to talk about. If you're interested in getting advice on exercising or juicing, just send me an email as well, and I'll be more than welcome to give you a sample guide. One second, guys. Now, a little about me. I come from New York City. I was born and raised in Harlem. My birthday actually just passed. It was February 24th. So I turned 32 years old. Growing up, life was different. I didn't have a cell phone. You know, we took our mama's beepers on our side. We had the Walkmans. We didn't really grow up with phones 24/7 in our hand. I had to wait until 9 o'clock to talk on my cell phone if I wanted free minutes. And by then, curfew, it was already curfew, you know? So I used to sneak and use my father's phone, the T-Mobile Razr. We had the flip phone back in the days. We used to have to be home before the street lights turned on. There was home cooked meal. If you eat out, it was like a disgrace. Like, you come home with takeout food, like, that is a disgrace. How dare you? You know? So nowadays, these kids, they eat takeout every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So I think it was very different growing up as a child versus now, these children that grow up, and it's so easy for them just to get McDonald's and be on their phone, 5 years old. You know, I couldn't imagine 5 years old yelling for McDonald's and being on my cell phone like that and screaming for it. We already know what would have happened back in the days. But there's an entitlement now with these kids that they don't get the discipline because, you know, the parents are too scared to discipline because we have all of these things in place that we could go to jail. All of those things didn't exist when we was kids. Our mother, they put our knees in rice. We had to face the wall. They put Florida water on us after the blessers, after they beat us. Like, it was raw. Because they was our parents. And that was the first discipline. So that way we don't get killed in the street. We don't get stabbed in the street. If we didn't get beat by our parents, we was going to get beat in the street. Because we didn't know no better. So for me, I'm blessed. I'm grateful. I'm happy that I was raised that way. Because I don't stay out in the street at no 4 o'clock in the morning. You won't catch me on my phone all day. I love a home-cooked meal. And I think it's important to continue that some way, somehow. Whether we have a point that we take the phones away for a second. Maybe there's a time at the house that, there's no phones. Dinner time with my dad, you could not have the phone on the table. No phone at dinner time. Dinner time, you had to eat with the family. You have to talk with the family. Now, everybody go to their room. The kids go to their room. There was no eating in your room. You know what I'm saying? So we have to continue. If we don't continue the tradition as the younger parents, how are the kids going to know? So it's our fault. We can't blame the kids. The kids don't know no better. We have to be the one to show them. Give me your phone. There's no phone right now. It's dinner time. Simple. But we want to be our kids' friends. We are not our kids' friends. We are their mother. We're their father. We're their aunt. We're their older sister. We are the elder. We had to have the discipline so they know and respect the hierarchy. There is a respect of levels that it don't exist no more. You know what I realized too? That is what is happening. People don't respect the teacher, don't respect the principal, don't respect everybody wants to be the same. If you work for this for 1 year and I work for this for 5 years, I want the same respect. No, respect is earned. If you just come in and I've been here, you had to respect the person that been here before you. And that's the problem these days. You have the younger people, they come in and they want the same respect as the older people that spend years and years doing this. And it's like sometimes that's why this show, we're going to have the older people, we're going to have the younger people, and we're going to have them connect. We're going to have them talk. Because there's something missing on the internet, on these type of shows. The older people think, what these young people think. The younger people think, what these old people think. No, we had to stop that already. We had to be together. That's how our kids is going to know better. If not, they see us like this and they find a reason to disrespect all of us. The 30-year-olds, the 50-year-olds, the 70-year-olds, everybody. Let me tell y'all something. I was in Department of Education for over, I would say, 8 years. It was a long time. Couple years. And those kids will respect me more than they respect their teacher, and I did not allow it. They will come to me because I'm the teacher's assistant, I'm the teacher's aide, I'm not the teacher. You come in, you respect the teacher first. There's no talking to Miss Kim in the corner and, I'm talking to no. Your teacher is telling you what to do. Right now, I'm a stepmom of 2 kids. You listen to your mother and your father first. Then, if they tell you something that you can listen to me, then you can listen to me. But I don't give you the discipline that your parents are supposed to give you. And you are not going to find the easy way out with me. So a lot of people, they don't even know they being the easy way out for these kids because they enabling the bad behaviors. I teach my boyfriends all the time. You don't like your mother of your children? You don't like this? You taught her to be that way because you taught her to not respect you. You teach this person, I am a man, this is my children, this and that. Now, we know women are crazy. That we know. But respect had to be shown. You show yourself how you are, the woman will respect you. I don't want no woman around me, if I was a man, that can't respect me because that's a reflection of me. So the first thing, who's the head? The man. If the man is not good, it can't go, the rest of the body don't work. We the rib. We protect them. So women, we had to do better. When we teaching, I know that single motherhood is very popular these days, but you had to find men in the community to teach our kids, whether it's the barber, whether it's the basketball coach, whether you go to the supermarket and you find the manager there, I don't care. You had to find men, even if you're a single mom. And my sister, she does a beautiful job with my nephew because she's been a single mom, but she allowed my father to be in his life. She allowed, so that way, it's not too feminine. We have a lot of feminine men these days because like I said, the takeout food have estrogen in it, which is the hormonal imbalance. You have to eat at home. You have to cook at home so that way your body could be nice so you can be the man that you want to be as well. These men that are eating McDonald's every day, how? There's no way. You had to keep yourself manly too. So men, you had to take care of yourself. 75% of suicides are men. That means that you guys are unhappy, but you're not telling nobody. You're keeping it inside. And it's our fault as women because we are truly not giving you guys a space to open up, to let us know that you unhappy because you have to pay the bills, you have to go to work, you have to do everything you're supposed to do. It's hard. So my mother and my father being together for 33 years teach me to be a woman to a man because my father submits to my mom and my mom submits to my dad. Now, is it easy? No way. Not in a million years. Is it worth it to have a beautiful daughter like me that is able to speak and give the generational legacies that we say that we want to continue? Absolutely. Because when you have kids, you don't live for yourself no more. That's the problem. If you want to live for yourself, you do not have children. Simple. You have to live now for that legacy, for what you're gonna continue. And if you want to continue bad health, no money in the family, all these things, then hey, that's the man of the house that you're gonna be as well. You have to have a balance. You want to have the woman that you want, you have to be the man that holds that woman as well. And then, America, they love to break down the home. They convince the women that they strong. You know why? Because if you take the man out of the house, the woman have to get out the house to work. What happens to the kids? Then the kids are left alone. And who's raising the kids? What's the best way to control a society? You tell me. You think controlling me at 32 years old or trying to convince my parents at 70 and 50? No. They're going to try to convince the kids. So convincing the man that he don't belong in the house, that the woman is strong enough to take care of the family by themselves, then the kids are by themselves. And they win. Because the kids go to public school and they get taught what they want to teach your kids, not what you want to teach your kids. So you have to be the first teacher. Period and point blank. Living and waking up to a 9 to 5 every day, not taking care of your body, those are not the important things. Now, do you need money to live? Yes. Do we need all the money in the world to live? No. I think Elon Musk can, pay everybody like triple times salary and still not be broke. Who needs that much money? For what? And he looks sick, like a sick man. I don't want to live like that. Caribbean men, to me, they look the healthiest. When they 80, 90 years old, they look the healthiest. Some of these men that are, certain cultures, how can I say it? Basically, like the elite, the Rockefellers, all these rich white men, basically, they are addicted to staying young. You know that? They will, the kids, all this weird stuff that's going on in the Epstein files, that's for vitality. They don't know how to stay young because they don't have a lot of melanin. Our brown eyes, our skin tone, the way our black men skin glows, that is a superpower. And it's a superpower that we have to nourish. Melanin is one of the best things that you can have in your body. And we have 3 different types of melanin, but we're going to talk about that later on. Teaching our black men that they're naturally, genetically superior, and that there are cultures out there that wish and pray that they can be as beautiful as those men, is why we had to take care of them. Why us as women had to learn our bodies so we can be here to take care of them. Men die before women, and then women spend the next 15% of their life that they're by themselves sick. You imagine being like my mother, my father, 33 years together. My dad dies before her, and then 15% of her life in the last year she's going to spend it sick. Do you think that's a life for anybody? So for me, I'm doing my podcast like this because I want my mother to be healthier. I want my grandmother to be here. The women in my life are important to me. And to find out that we spend our last year sick and our men die before us because 75% of suicides are men, there's a disconnect that women and men are still not learning. We are not taking care of each other. That's the problem. We can't do it on our own. So I want you guys to send me emails of your stories, of the problems that you have. If you think that you're too old to fix it or too young to have problems, I would tell you and I will give you a sample of a routine that will help you get out of depression, start working out, the supplements that you need, the routine that you need in order to get out of that stuck phase. We're dealing with sensitive systems here. God created us almost perfect. It is a blessing to look at your hands and see the trees, see the branches, see everything that nature, we are the mirror. So if we are the mirror, that means the answer is all around us. We don't necessarily need the doctors. And now, we need them. But we don't need them every second of the day to be healthy. Just because you did not get a checkup does not mean that you should be sick. You should take responsibility of your own health. I don't care what age you are. I don't care what weight you are. And I don't care about the environment. There's always one thing And the one thing that I want y'all to do, like I told y'all earlier, pick up that one thing that is a mess in your house. You have one thing that is every day you come in and you complain about it. Just change it. That one thing. Not 10 things, not 9, not 8, not 7, just one. Every day that you come into the house and you step on something and you got to move something and the door is a little like this or the garbage is, just try to fix it in a way that is more comfortable. And then the next day, you do the same thing. And watch, you're going to be not struggling in your life as much. Every time that we fighting with little stuff, we're causing stress. We're causing our cortisol to be high. We're causing all of these things that are shortening our life. We want to be 100, 110 years old. You know, we don't want to die at 70 years old, 75. That's young. My father's 70 right now. So if our life expectancy is 70, 75, that means that I can't expect my father to be here for another 5 years. And I can't believe that. I refuse to believe that. So women like me, we're taking control because it's personal to us. You know, I want to be able to give out information. I don't have any children yet. I have not been married yet. And I want my father to be there when I walk down that aisle. I want my father to pick up my baby. So I have a mission to make sure that I find out what's healthier, what is the lifestyle that is going to keep my father here longer. Because I want him to walk me down the aisle and be strong and look strong while he does it. So this is personal for me, you know? I have older parents. Not everybody have older parents. Some people had their parents had them young. Me, on the other hand, the reality is I had to take care of them. And if I could bring in revenue, I could monetize this. We can sell a brand that is able to take care of my parents where it doesn't affect me in a way that takes away from my lifestyle, and I can do stuff like this, then that's great. That's perfect for me. But I want you guys to tune in. We're going to have people on the panel. We're going to talk about holistic health. We're going to talk about different juices. I'm going to give you guys a whole bunch of samples of juices that really cleared my skin, cleared my gut health. IBS is a real thing. I was too young to be going through all of these things. This is why I had to figure out what is wrong with me. Why am I 23 going through gut health problems, cervix problems, thyroid problems, dehydration, all these things? Because I was not taking care of myself. And no one taught me how to take care of myself. No one taught me how to take care of myself. So I'm here to teach you guys how to take care of yourself, how to stay active, how to continue living a journey that is just a lifestyle at this point. It's not even going to be hard for you, because once you start incorporating this will be your lifestyle. You wake up, I don't say, when can I go to the gym today? That is something that I have to do. I have to go to the gym. That's not something that is when you start telling yourself, I have to do these things, it gotta work. Now, first things first, I want you guys to make sure that you're following me, that you're sending emails to me. I want to know your topics. I want to know what's important to you. I want to know if you're suffering from obesity and you're not able to lose the weight, if you're going through divorces, if you're going through these things, because these are the things that we're going to be talking about: love and relationships, health and fitness, the science, the spirituality. We're going to be bringing up Bible references. I'm not super religious, but I'm going to be bringing people on that is religious, that can talk about God in a way that is according to scripture. I will be talking about God according to how it downloads to me. We're going to confirm that through scripture, and just to make sure that we're not idolizing anything that is outside of God. We don't praise this channel. We praise God, and we praise God that God allowed us to be on this channel. So we want to make sure that we have our intentions together when we're speaking as well about religious factors. I post content on my YouTube about 3 to 5 times. I've been posting more content recently. I want to create a program for women and older women specifically that increases their mobility, their flexibility, their functional training. I want women and men to be able to feel active in their life without sitting at an office desk and just, next thing you know, it's 2027 and all you did was go to work. You know, tomorrow is not guaranteed. So incorporating different routines and lifestyles that can just work within your routine. That is not something that you have to fit in. That's the key. I want to be able to invite some celebrities as well. We're going to email some celebrities. I know a couple of celebrities as well, music artists that's going to be talking about the industry and how it's different for younger artists to come in versus the artists that used to come in before. With this Diddy era, how Diddy's in jail, and you know how that affects also the rest of the younger artists that are coming in. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. I have so many different topics. But as for right now, holistic health is one of the major topics because we want to make sure that we're healthy enough for tomorrow, you know? So I think it's important that we continue tuning in, and I'm super excited for the next guests that are going to be joining. Now, my uncle is actually getting married in April, so I'm super excited about that. We're going to Orlando, Florida, and he's actually marrying a social media influencer. So she has like 3 million followers on Instagram, I believe. So that is like my next vacation. So I will be able to utilize that and talk more about that on the show as well. The upcoming, my get ready, my fitness journey, the things that I'm doing to stay fit for the wedding, because you know we want to look good, of course. And yeah, I'll let you guys know more about me. As you guys send in your emails, I'll be able to respond to you guys on my show. Right now, in the gym, I'm working on strength training, being able to be strong enough. I remember having to lift up something and I couldn't even lift it up. So that made me not feel good. And I've been at the gym for about 15 weeks straight, going 3 to 4 times a week. I gained about 10 pounds of muscle. So we're on our journey from always being this very slim, skinny girl to actually having muscle definition and all of these things. So those things are a little different for me as well. So I want to be able to teach you guys how to not only stay fit, but again, adding that into your lifestyle. I'm writing a book. Eventually that ebook will be available for you guys. And it's highlighting how hormonally, if we can affect the serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin levels, if we could break that down and really hone in on having our hormones leveled enough to be able to have the energy to go work out and have the willpower to do these things, it makes a major difference. sun gazing in the morning, a lot of these things talking about in the book that we sleep on. It's like underrated, you know. We don't even think about how much 10 minutes of sunlight every day changes our entire life. When the winter comes, it's a real reason why we're more depressed, because the sunlight is less out there. We're not getting that vitamin D as we need as much, and we're depressed because of it. So your house can literally be making you sick. And when I realized that, I just started coming outside just to sun gaze. Even if I was just sitting in the sun for 10 minutes, that's what I did. And my mood boosted 200%. So these are things that I want to make sure that they're simple, but we're just not doing it. And 5 minutes a day of taking a walk, listening to the birds, smelling the oxygen from the trees. These are natural, healthy medicines that we just forget to do because we're lazy. We're procrastinators. And even if we're not lazy, we don't have the energy to do so. So the first thing I recommend, as I told y'all before we go into our next episode for tomorrow, is going home and changing one thing about your home that has been annoying to you. Something that has been bothering you that you have just learned to deal with. Because the less fighting that we do in our daily life, the more we can focus on the things that are making us healthy. So if there's something that you kick every day that you walk into that house, move it. If there's something that is dripping, call someone to fix it. Google how to fix it. If the light bulb needs changing, change that light bulb. Because these are the things that are going to change your mood in order for you to feel healthier and feel more energetic to be healthier. A lot of people, they don't want to talk about how you have to be in the mood for certain things, right? Not with discipline. When you gain the discipline to be able to do those things, you're not going to be in the mood sometimes. That's the point. Even when you're not in the mood, you're still going to do it. And that's the point that I'm at. I'm at the point where even if I'm not in the mood to go to the gym, I go to the gym. Even if I'm not in the mood to drink that smoothie, I drink that smoothie. Because I know that the goal at the end and the purpose that I have is going to fulfill that. So I need to continue, even if it's only one step, it's one step closer to that goal that I'm looking towards, you know? So I can't wait for you guys to tune back in, read the emails on live, and yeah, let you guys know what type of feedback I'm getting, what type of topics we're going to talk about. The most popular topics are going to win, of course. So make sure that you guys are emailing me those topics and letting me know what it is that you want to talk about, because I am super interested in everything. I can talk about every single topic that you want to talk about. So don't be scared. And, you know, my fiance, he's a Haitian American. I'm a Puerto Rican Dominican American. So my ethnicity is Dominican and Puerto Rican, but my nationality is American. So we are trying to also bridge those gaps. We know that the Haitians and the Dominicans, they have a all-out war towards each other back in the days. So these are things that I also want to talk about, because being a Dominican woman and having a Haitian spouse, it can be tough sometimes. Sometimes I feel like we're fighting genetic wars, but we're going to talk about that later on. And talking about the history of Haiti, the history of Dominican Republic, and how that's changing, you know, how the bridge is changing, and how one day, you know, Haiti's going to be open to everyone the same way how Dominican Republic is, and it's going to be a thriving culture because people like me and my fiance that are breaking those generational curses, and we are going to have kids and we're going to teach our children their culture and make sure that the Creole language stays alive and the Spanish language stays alive, and teaching them that, because one of the major problems was the Catholic Church. Dominican Republic wanted to keep the Catholic Church. Haiti wanted Dominican Republic to have French as the major language and to abolish the Catholic Church. So these are things that I want to talk about as we come on, my spouse comes on, and I believe it was 1844. But these are things that needs to be talked about. A lot of Haitians don't know the history of what happened to Dominican Republic, but they just know that they don't like us. And a lot of Dominicans don't know what happened with the Haitians. They just know that they don't like them. And my mother's Puerto Rican, so Puerto Rico was a big ally for Haiti, and then Dominican Republic was the opposite. So it's interesting to fight this genetic battle within myself and having a Haitian spouse as well. So it's going to be a lot of interesting topics going on. We're bridging cultures, ethnicities, nationalities, all of these things that have been propaganda that is not true, and letting the people know that there are people like me and my fiance that is Dominican and Haitian, that are living happy together. We've been together for a while. We plan to get married, and would love for the Dominican and Haitian border to be open so we could get married in our country. It's sad. It breaks my heart to know that the ignorance is so prevalent for the Americans like us that technically it's not our fault. We had no parts in that. But because of our ancestors and the generational problems that they have, we can't even go to Haiti the way that we want to and do what it is that we want to do without being scrutinized, And that may or may not be true, but the propaganda has made us believe that. So making sure that we understand our history, our culture, things that we are personally going through, that's all I want to talk about, because it's real. And everyone is going through it in different ways, but there's no one channel that you can find all of these topics on at the same time. So really exciting stuff. So I also want to talk about in my next episodes how the wife's role in budgeting, financial planning, home organization, meal planning and cooking, education, like building a support network, how I'm doing now, home maintenance. These are a lot of roles that women need to stay prevalent in. Not only because when we continue talking on the show and we understand the male's brain versus the female brain, we understand how they're able to focus on one thing at a time. Versus women, we can hear the baby crying, we can hear the oven alarm go off, we can hear the doorbell, we can hear all these things, but men, they can't. Men, they can't. Men only hear the doorbell, or men only hear the baby crying, or men can only hear the tick of the oven. When you understand why, because back in their survival, hunters, gatherers, all those things, that was for survival. So when you understand that men and women had different roles when we were created, and now those roles have shifted into a modern society, a lot of these men, animalistic hunter instincts are still being inside of them. They don't know how to let it out. So in our show, we're going to be talking about those type of things. Why men do the things that they do. Why women are so good at the things that we do versus men. I don't want you to be scared in telling your stories in the email. We could keep them 100% anonymous unless you want to share your name. Then you can say that in the email as well. But I'm looking forward to helping both men and women bridge this gap of we don't know what's going on with the other side. Because bridging that mind will help our children understand how to live a better functioning life. Because they're suffering. And they're suffering because we're not teaching them correctly. So we have all the tools in the world. And I hope that you guys come back utilizing this one to my next episode. So my name's Kim Knowledge. I hope you guys tune in. And thank you so much for coming by.